Hey everyone, and welcome to the Classic Auto Appraiser YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over how we spit out these pretty hefty appraisals and show you the process that it takes to make these. Starting with the inspection of the customer's car, all the way to, well, what that entails as far as gathering information and making the appraisal itself. So, tune in with me, we're going to give it a look, and I'll be talking as we go about it. Now, how long you been doing this, Terry?
I've been a building on cars and I'm trading around on them for 50 years.
Okay, man, a lot of experience. There's the missing blower motor, like he had mentioned. All the AC components. Hoses look good and new. Newer battery. And a newer master cylinder and brake booster on it as well. Let's see if we can focus on that steering linkage down there.
This gentleman said he had, I believe it was 4 or 5 of these cars. He got a 57, 58, and a 59, and I think he said a 61 and a 2 or just 61.
Yeah, yours would fill the gap. They're a bit of collectors, so.
That's what he said. So.
He seemed pretty eager, so. Now, where was the car before you got it? Like, where did it come out of?
From Gadsden, Alabama.
Gadsden, Alabama. All right. And how long had those folks had it? Or did they not?
The gentleman passed away that had all of the work done to it.
Okay.
And he was good friends with his next door neighbor, and I'm good friends with him. And
gotcha.
kind of got it. Actually, his daughter and all he didn't want her to have it, and she didn't want it, and
so it worked out. Yeah.
supposedly, whether how much of it is true, how much of it she knew, she claimed that he had spent over 80 grand in restoring this car.
Goodness.
And it has been over a 10-year period.
Wow, that's a long time to draw out a restoration.
Yep. And if you'll notice, if you look there on the speedometer, all that is new. It only has 88 miles on it.
Yeah, that's wild. Now, I know you said you did a lot of Mustang stuff. What's your favorite stuff to work on, or just whatever you can get?
I have all my life about it been mostly a Camaro, Chevelle, and Nova person.
That's funny, because now you're doing fastback conversions on Mustangs.
Yeah. A good friend of mine, he got into building the Mustangs. He's a Ford fanatic from get-go.
Yeah.
And me and him got to collaborating and done one or two together. And it was where you could buy the Mustangs real cheap, and it was cheap to build them.
Right.
But all of that is changing very rapidly.
Oh, it has. It's blown up. It's crazy.
But he got me in on it, and they're about the same as far as a fooling with them. I like them.
Yeah, you seem like just an old car guy, which is fun. Oh, they got some late model stuff here too, like that Camaro.
Yeah, that's my granddaughter's.
Okay. Those are pretty good cars, honestly, especially when they went over to the Alpha chassis on the Cadillac stuff. Really became just great contenders for other sports cars. I mean, so much so that the Z28 and the ZL1, they're some real ring masters. They're great on track.
Yep, yep.
It's got really good paint uniformity, which, I mean, I'd come to expect from a restored car, but sometimes you just don't get that. Depends on who did the restoration.
I don't know who done the restoration on it.
That's okay. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Some gentleman down there, like I say, I don't know who.
Yeah, most people I talk to, especially when it's just a car they've had more than a couple years and it was a restoration by the previous owner, if there's no paperwork kept, usually they don't know. Yeah. And it's common, you know, things get lost, especially if it's someone who passed away, like this situation. A little higher right here, right at the door.
If you don't mind me asking.
Yes, sir.
What does you charge, or what does your company or whatever get to do this?
Yeah, so today I'm not writing an appraisal, I'm just doing an inspection, and this is just visual and then photographs and video. So for the video, the photos, and I'm gonna take about 150 photos, it's gonna be $300 for the travel and everything. So 2.5 hours here, 2.5 back. Not too bad. Yeah, it sort of is, but they didn't need anything written, and usually it's $500, and the written appraisals are about 200 pages, because they'll go before courts and everything. We do expert witnessing, all that jazz. So it's fun, it is, it's a lot of writing. Whereas if I don't know, if I could do it over, I might have done what you did and just stuck to the hobbyist side of it, of actually building cars, because I don't build that many cars anymore. Only stuff I build is my stuff, and that's like 2 cars right now. So I definitely see a lot more people's toys and stuff than I do play with my own right now. And as you can see, I definitely drove the steed of disappointment today, because it gets close to 40 miles to the gallon, so it does the trick. Now, is this what you've done for the majority of your life? I know you said you've been into it 50 years, but I didn't know if it's just something you did on the side, or...
I had a used car dealership. I actually traded and sold used cars for several years, but
nice.
I've kind of, I guess you'd say, semi-retired in a few years. And,
sure.
I give up the dealership, and mostly this old stuff. This type of car is not my normal league.
Right.
Like I say, we kind of come in on this, and I thought it would make money, and it's not going to make any money to amount to anything, but
Right.
it helped the daughter and the family out a little bit, and so
It made sense just to,
we
yeah.
got it in. So
Because it sounds like muscle cars are definitely your speed. I mean, Camaros, Mustangs. Do you do Mopar stuff too, or?
Yeah, I do. Like I say, some 55s, 57s, and a little of everything. But they're my main course, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Now, what's your favorite Camaro?
69.
69. Z28, or does it matter?
Well,
Because that DZ302, that's a monster right there.
I have got one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, if I had more time today, that'd be...
I have got a true DZ69 RS Camaro that is in a million pieces, but I have got every piece of it.
That's awesome.
And the only reason that I really hadn't put it together as of yet, I don't want to sell it, and I'm afraid if I put it together, I will sell it.
Yep.
And so I haven't. And my other pretty good passion is these Nomads, the Tri-5.
Oh, yeah.
55, 67.
Yep, they're cool, and you can haul a family in them too, which is a big plus over the standard Chevys.
And so I intend, though, really soon, I'm not procrastinating too bad. I've been talking about it for the last 7, 8 years, but I'm going to for sure. I'm going to get a few of my own fixed up and enjoy them just a little bit before I get too old.
I think that's pretty wise. Hey, you're a pretty young feller to have this much stuff going, and I mean, you're moving it and you're building it. That's pretty good.
I sell on the average every year probably at least 10 to 15 automobiles.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, honestly.
And I don't necessarily fix all of them, but I do fix a bunch.
Sure. And some of them don't need fixing. Sometimes it's just the right opportunity. I get that.
Well, this one here really one of the situations. I mean, I haven't done anything to this car. What does that thing there do?
It measures paint depth, and then I've got another device that'll measure filler, like body filler, Bondo, stuff like that. So it just gives you an idea of like what the different thicknesses on the paint are. Like super uniform. I'm seeing a little high spot here, but not to the point where you can visibly see it. So it doesn't really matter. These are just records at this point, because he was really particular about the paint. So I'm just making sure that we get everything recorded, because usually, you know, a high spot might indicate that there's a little bit more filler, because everything's got a skim coat. Any decent car's got a skim coat on it. And I've heard, you know, builders be like, oh, well, you know, we're not gonna use any filler. And I'm like, then this is the first car you've ever built, because everyone puts filler in them.
You've got to.
Yep.
If it's slick, it's got filler in it.
Exactly.
I don't care who it is, or if every piece of it's brand new, it's got filler in it.
Right, with the exception of exposed aluminum Cobras or something like that, but yeah, everything else definitely has filler, and it's just how it is.
Well, like I say, I've been doing it a long time, and there is a lot of vehicles that I have done. It's 10, 15, 20, some of them 25, 30 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they have held up very well. There's a few exceptions that happen.
Sure.
The majority of them have. And if you got a good, clean, rough surface to put it on,
yep,
and there's no rust behind it,
then you're good.
Go for as long as the car is.
Oh yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. They're like, you know, doesn't matter what kind of filler I use, and I'm like, you know, like people have preferences, but at the end of the day, as long as you're using something to lay down the paint smoothly, it's not going to show any texturing. And that's the thing, is like I've seen people try to avoid filler, and then they end up spraying the car, and you know, it's got like little smooth spots here and there, but then it's textured on other spots where the metal's still rough.
Yep.
Now, you wouldn't happen to be selling any of these Mustangs right now, would you?
No,
Okay. I always got to ask. That's unfortunately my weak spot, so. You're right, though. They're getting really expensive. I mean, the last one I owned, it wasn't a 67 or an 8, but it was a 65 convertible. We bought it for 10 grand, and then and it was an inline 6. It was an automatic car, and we put a 289 in it. We did the Shelby style 4-barrel intake, put a Holly on it, a 4160, tri-Y headers, Shelby tri-Y headers, and then just decent little cam, nothing too crazy. We still want to be able to use pump gas. Is right at 10-to-1 compression, and then we had a top loader 4-speed behind it. And people were like, oh, you're killing the value because it's all original car. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to enjoy this, first of all, because I bought this for me. And then when it came time to sell it, it sold for 20, shoot, I can't remember if it's 24 or 26,000, but like, it's crazy because like the whole point of building it was for me to enjoy it. And it went from a car that you were afraid to merge onto the highway with to something that you could just drive anywhere, enjoy. And it was a fun little hot rod. It really was. And I mean, rowing your own gears is just so much better too. I absolutely love it whenever in a muscle car you get to shift a manual. And you know, it was a 4-wheel drum brake car, and it went from that to discs in the front, larger drums in the rear, and 5-spoke wheels and 5-lug suspension and the heavier duty stuff because we put the V8 in there. It's just a great little car, but it is crazy to me that between the time that I had it and sold it, so we bought it in 2014, and I think I sold it in right around 2020, because COVID was weird and stuff. And if I'd waited for COVID to happen, I actually would have gotten more for that car, which is funny. But, and then, so COVID happens, prices explode, and then all of a sudden, I can't buy a coupe, a decent one, for less than like 12, 14 grand, something like that. I mean, you can buy a really gnarly project car, but the car I bought, that convertible, granted, it was an inline 6 and an automatic, but it had all its Ford Motor Company sheet metal on it. I mean, the same family had owned it since 1972 and kept it inside, so it's pretty hard to beat.
I'm looking at, I'll come up on me one, for a 67 or 68 convertible.
Yeah.
I want a V8 car. I don't care what the condition of the car is, as long as it ain't too bad rusty. I don't want the pillar post in the door.
Or the cow. That's a...
As far as the floor pans and the rockers and the quarters and actually even the frame rail up front and the cow support up front, or the radiator support, I mean. I don't really care all that if it's priced accordingly. But I want one, and I want to put the Eleanor kit. Oh,
there you go. Yeah. On a convertible. That'd look good.
Just a fun, playful car is what I want. And I just want the Eleanor look, the spoilers and the scoops and stuff.
Would you do the side exhaust too?
Yep.
Yep. In my opinion, that sort of makes the Eleanor, is the side exhaust on it. Well, if I find a convertible, or if I do an inspection on one and it ends up being something that someone passes on, I'll keep you in mind. I've got your number. So, all right. Not recently. Most of the stuff people are buying is either muscle cars or like mid-80s collectibles, like import stuff. That's real big. I mean, I've done Bonnevilles before, but not this year, if that tells you anything, so.
Do you put a value on it?
No, I will not put a value on this because they only wanted the inspection. So, yeah, no, that's unless they ordered the appraisal and the inspection, which is if, you know, what we were talking about price, you know, if they paid the $650 to do the whole thing, they get the document that has the appraisal embedded, comps, everything, market analysis. But no, they're not doing that.
Out of your expert opinion of what you've looked at or whatever, ballpark figure, what kind of value would you put on this car?
It's a tough question. I usually don't do that, honestly, because I go home to see what they're going for, and I pull, like, because I don't know the mileage till I get here. I don't know the condition until I get here. Even if people send me photos, it's different to put your eyes on it versus see cell phone photos. So I don't know, but I could text you something when I get home.
Well, I was just curious, I mean, what your idea was. I don't care to tell you, are you looking at it for a price of him for $32,000?
Wow. Considering what was invested on the restoration, that's pretty phenomenal.
I think it's a deal.
Oh, I do too. Someone did a good job with their skim coating on the hood. Now, what do your Eleanors go for when you get done with those generally? Or does it just depend on equipment, or do people do small blocks, big blocks?
Mostly small blocks. I have not built an actual big block. I have built one with, or two with late model fuel injected engines in them.
Like Fox body stuff or Coyote 5.0s?
I've not done one with a Coyote, I've done with the Fox body stuff.
Gotcha.
4.6 and one with a 5.0.
How do you like those 4.6s?
They're hell to get in the.
I believe you. Did you do the single overhead cam 2-valve or the 3-valve?
The full valve, the double overhead cam.
Oh wow, so like the Cobra motor and Mach 1 stuff.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Larger cam, and I was running. It claimed about 600 horsepower, but I don't know. It would get it, I'll tell you that. But man, I had to do a lot of fabrication on firewalls and inner fenders. And
right, because you cut out your shock towers and everything to make it fit, and
take it all out.
yeah. That's I've never been ambitious enough to do anything like that. Everything I've done is small block Ford. Yeah. So like that swap car, we did another swap before that, but it was the same deal. 6-cylinder to small block Ford, something we knew would work.
I put on like it's simple, and usually you asking, I mean, with the full Eleanor kit and all pretty well new stuff. I'm talking about not patched up and all this kind of stuff. New floors and new trunks and new gas tanks and new quarters and new doors and new fenders and grills and bumpers and interior and everything. Usually $55,000 to $60,000.
Yeah. Man, that's a good deal, honestly. Like, really. Because they go...
the Camaros have actually went down.
I've noticed that, which I thought was weird, because especially like the 69s and stuff, that was a one-year only thing.
Yep. And where they was getting on up $60,000, $70,000, and $80,000, they're down to $35,000, $40,000.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've got 10 of them.
It's a good thing you like them, right?
Yep.
Well, I need to keep your number for more than one reason, Terry, because if you ever decide to let go of one of those, my brother is definitely in the market for a first-generation Camaro, so he'd be one of the guys that would definitely buy one from you.
Okay.
Because he's a big GM guy. He's got a Z06 Corvette.
And you all are located in Maryville?
Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah.
I usually go to Pigeon Forge every April and every September, but I don't know about any more after this past year because I missed the rod run up so bad. I don't know. I don't know if I'll go back.
I understand that.
They've got it where they don't want you to put no for sale signs or sell cars or do nothing up there.
Worse than that, if you show up with open titles, they're going to make you...
register them all.
Yep. Yep. I heard I had a friend of a friend who spent something like $6,000 doing that.
Yep. Well, see, that kills your profit. I mean, there's
yeah.
a whole lot of times that you don't make $5,000 or $6,000 on a car, and if you have to put that in sales tax and tags and stuff, there ain't nothing left.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't blame you. I mean, and since it's all been moving to the center anyways, I mean, that's cool, but it's really just showcasing people's building, and that's neat. It's just there's only it turns into more of a show, and also like that's not the kind of market car I'm into. I can't afford a 6-figure car. That's not, it's not relatable to me. I'm happy that there are young guys getting into it and people that do it well, but I've got friends that do it, but you know, where in the world? Well, I'm pretty pleased with the body work, because everything's been under a 1/16 of an inch. Pretty good. I mean, a lot of cars will come back with, and I say a lot of cars, hobbyist restorations, but you said this was $80,000, which I'd consider a professional restoration, so it's, I mean, it's well within professional shop what they would have put out as far as quality of work.
Like I say, and one thing that you can notice or pay attention to, this paint job, I'm gonna say is 6-8 years old.
Right.
And usually, if it's covered up a bunch of mess,
It's usually coming undone by then.
right through. You can spot it pretty
Yep.
easy. And like I say, this thing's got a few little places, but I mean, it's overall, I don't think it's too bad old car.
No, especially if their intention is to drive it and enjoy it, they're going to be just fine.
You stay pretty busy?
It's seasonal, really. During the summer, I stay pretty covered up, and then during the winter, it fizzles out a little bit, except for legal cases and the occasional pre-purchase inspection like this. But yeah, we stay busy enough to where it equals out, all comes out in the wash at the end. I'd love to be busier, like any business, but
Well, you in this by yourself, or you subcontracted under another person, or what?
just me. Yep. Yep. I used to do a lot of contract work, and it's good, but it's especially good if you're just getting your feet wet and you're not sure if you want to do it, because there's an investment to be made when you start buying high definition cameras and reading, like, you know, filler meters, paint meters, booklets, and then you pay for some of the valuation programs too. But I decided to do it on my own because I wanted to be able to be the guy that looked at the car and wrote the report, whereas a lot of places there was a division. If you looked at the car, you sent in all the info, you wrote up what you thought was important, then the writers wrote it up in their way, and it's like, well, you lose some stuff. You don't have the first-hand account of who saw the car and what was important, and I get that.
You talked to this gentleman personally?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's literally just me. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You will send him the report or whatever, or pictures or whatnot, and
Yep.
you'll talk to him personally.
Yep, I'll send him the pictures. He'll get the videos that I'm taking right now, and then it'll be just me and him on the phone. Because I've got one other guy that works with me, but he admittedly is going to do more of this in his retirement because he works as an airplane mechanic. He's super, I mean, he's a skilled restoration guy, but he has a full-time job. So, and he got recently added. He's great too, by the way. I mean, just phenomenal guy.
Will you get this report back to him this evening?
I will call him this evening, and then I will start sending him the photos this evening. They should all upload and be to him by then, but depending on what questions he has and how long it takes him to look at it, like, it might be tomorrow before we're done talking about it. But, no, he will get everything at least sent to him tonight. So, all right. Alrighty. Well, thank you. Speedo's pretty stable too. That Speedo's pretty stable too, honestly.
Yeah.
Needle's not bouncing or anything. It's good stuff.
Wait just a minute. Ah. I'd say the old tires would get it out and get it lined up would smooth out a little better.
Oh yeah. Oh, it doesn't ride rough as is though. Feels pretty good. I think we're good. I mean, it's done well, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. It, like I say, ain't probably it could use a few little odd things, but basically it ain't bad.
Sure. Like you said, cruising, Sonic, all that jazz, it'd do well.
Got a little bit of a donut gasket or a manifold.
I was gonna say, I hear a little exhaust leak over there, but not bad. Like you said, just a gasket probably. Pretty quiet little road you live on.
Yeah. This is the old road. When they put that new road through where it took this out,
that's
this
funny.
curb and stuff out. And,
Didn't even see that Cougar you had.
yeah.
You got a lot of stuff.
I've been here about 45 years.
Oh, wow.
So.
Terry, I appreciate it.
Alrighty. It clicked over 90 miles.